Today's the day our brave warrior king, Joseph Biden, takes on that evil Second Amendment, the evil NRA, those evil firearm owners, and he gives them a good licking. He's going to take him out behind the shed, as promised. Kamala will be holding his hand all along the way because she promised that she would take executive actions to curtail civil liberties in this country as well. Unfortunately, I'm not allowed to editorialize here or share my opinions on YouTube anymore without being algorithmically demoted. The type of content that I used to put out here on this channel would get 10, 20, 100,000 plus views. Now, I've removed a lot of those videos for a number of reasons, mostly to preserve the integrity of this channel. If you're subscribed to me here, please find me on Alt Tech. The links will be in the description below. Most of my opinion pieces going forward will be published exclusively on Bitchute. This channel will be reserved for firearm reviews, as long as they're allowed here on YouTube, and the occasional legislative update. That's it. So what can we expect to see today out of the brave and bold neoconservative Biden administration? I expect we're going to see a lot of abuses of interstate commerce. Now, they've already mentioned what they refer to as ghost guns, but they don't really define what that means. Technically, they can't regulate a block of metal, but we're about to find out. I think a lot of firearm parts, they may redefine them. I think we're going to run into some issues getting certain things shipped to our door. I don't know what that will mean, but they can definitely use interstate commerce to abuse that. Additionally, we're going to see a lot of import bans. I have zero doubt, because that's where most of our gun control has happened in the past 30, 40 years. Our ability to ship firearms directly to our front door is long gone unless it's through a CNR license. Now, one of the workarounds to that, and really not a workaround, you could buy components to self-manufacture and build firearms at home, because that's your constitutional right to do so. Now, this administration is not particularly keen on your ability to do that. And there have been very, very few firearms recovered at crime scenes across the country that appear to be homebrewed by design, because it's a lot easier to simply steal them or have someone straw purchase a firearm for you that you intend to use to commit a crime than it is to sit there and produce your own firearm. It's just not worth it for most people. The ease of access to firearms in general just doesn't make it worth it for the criminal element to bother doing that. So it's a non-issue at the end of the day, but to them it's definitely a low-hanging fruit item. I think we'll see some expansion on studies as far as what they'll refer to as an epidemic of gun violence. I think we'll see more studies and maybe initiatives for safe firearm storage. Now, I was listening to Yankee Marshall the other day, and he mentioned, maybe if they came out with some grant program or something to provide safes to people. They're not going to do that. Let's be real. They have no intention of using tax money in a manner that would benefit people, like providing a safe for people who maybe live in a high crime area who don't always have their firearms handy. Maybe they have one gun that they carry, and then they have others they'd like to lock up, but they don't have the coin to drop on an expensive safe. Well, the government's not going to provide that. They'll just hold them accountable, though, if those guns are stolen and then used in a crime, because that's the direction the nation is heading. A lot of countries have laws in the books like that already. A lot of other parts of the U.S. have laws in the books like that, where they want to push those type of laws out to penalize you should your firearms be stolen and used in a crime. It becomes your fault that somebody committed a crime. It's fantastic logic. I don't understand it, but that's the type of stuff we're going to watch roll out over the next, unfortunately, I think 7+ years. So anyway, make sure you are paying attention to what happens today. I think we'll see a lot of import embargoes on ammunition, on pistols that fire rifle ammunition. I think those are gone. What the ATF was allegedly or supposedly referring to as large handguns, so MP5 clones, any of that type of stuff, CZs, anything that's being built overseas and imported that was really never a handgun, but we're calling it one for the purposes of sporting use to get around some of the insane import rules we already have. I think those are gone today. We're about to find out in the next several hours. So as I said, make sure you're paying attention. make sure you get involved with Firearms Policy Coalition, Gun Owners of America, the smaller state groups that are out there. Get involved with those as well. I'm not a big fan of the NRA for a number of reasons, mostly because they seem to come out of the woodwork, take our money, buy Wayne LaPierre some more suits, and then disappear again for years. They were effectively completely inactive under Donald Trump. They're more or less completely falling apart at this point. I actually sat in on a grassroots, so-called the NRA grassroots stuff they're now doing at the state level. And while it was a decent informational session, overall I found a lot of the information to be useless and redundant and incredibly low energy, sort of just a concession that we are likely to lose a lot of rights on the state level potentially where I'm currently living. So definitely worth looking into though, because they will keep you up to date as to what's going on. But when it comes to really donating your hard-earned money, find that state-based rifle association that has real lobbyists, registered lobbyists, not one of the groups run by Dudley Brown that are AstroTurf groups that are just there to collect money so he can continue to enrich himself. That's part of that National Association for Gun Rights, by the way, if you don't know what I'm talking about. Do some research into that. Very shady. He started Rocky Mountain Gun Owners Association out in Colorado, and they've lost all power here in Colorado. None. They have zero power. And I say here because I do spend a lot of time in Colorado, as I've mentioned in past videos. I have a house out here, and I'm selling it because the state is losing its mind with its safe storage requirements. We're likely to see more clampdowns, and I don't want to spend any time in Colorado anymore. It's just not worth it for me. And that's just the direction a lot of the nation is heading in, unfortunately. So it appears with the mass movement of people over the past year who are bringing certain ideologies that are incompatible with the native populations of these places. People who held values such as individual freedom and liberty at a high level. There are people who want to take those away from us, and we're about to see how far they're going to go in a few hours. Also, please make sure to find me at Alt Tech. Make sure to sub to me on Bitchute. If you are inclined, find me on Patreon. I'm really going to begin ramping up the amount of content I'm putting out over the next several weeks and months. Thanks for watching.